to everyone for participating in Day of Action in this session. We hope that you're enjoying these conversations. I know that I am, and looking forward to celebrating school nutrition programs for the next hour.
Yes, Morgan, I took over because I wanted to make sure that we could get the stream started before the 2 o'clock session started. And I think we are ready. Andrew, if you'll give me just a minute, I'll make you co-host too.
No problem. Take your time.
I think I have it set where you can share your screen if you need to.
That's it looks like it. Yes, thank you. That's great.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and say hello again to everyone. My name's Andrew Harrell. I'm a project and communications manager with the Carolina Hunger Initiative, and we're one of the many organizations on the leadership team for the School Meals for All NC Coalition. And we've been having a great time today, hanging out here on Zoom, talking about school meals and how we can educate and get the word out about the need to make them available for every child in every public school at no cost to families. If you're just joining us on the Zoom, we'd love to have you kind of check in on the chat with who you are, where you're calling from, what organization you're with. And I'll ask one of my colleagues to plug in the link to our advocacy guide, where you can see how to contact your legislators, post on social media, draft a resolution for your school or organization in support of school meals, and more. I think we're up to 62 action alerts for people who have reached out today, and we're trying to get to 65 before this hour is over. But the focus for our 2 p.m. segment here on the Zoom is just to say thank you to the school nutrition employees who are on the front lines of doing this work and waking up early to get in there and cook and serve the food that our students eat every day through these programs. I think more than ever, we recognize their importance during the pandemic, where on day 1 of school closures, almost every school district in North Carolina had staff out there making sure kids were still being fed, even though schools were closed. And even during a so-called normal school year, this campaign is entirely about recognizing the importance of these school meals on academic performance and social emotional health and physical health and so on. So we just want to take a moment and say thank you, not a moment, an hour, and say thank you for everything that you do and for being a part of this work, and to let you know that we recognize you're one of the most important voices in this coalition and this campaign. We've got a little slideshow that we're going to run in a minute. Jan, I don't know if you want to talk while I set it up with where some of these photos came from and what we'll be seeing.
Sure. I had the lovely experience of going through many nutrition directors and school websites and all kinds of programs to see faces of smiling children, the child nutrition folks who are at schools that really get into the spirit of being around children in schools and caring about their health and well-being, how they participate in school events and decorate their cafeteria. There's so many cafeterias that receive a 100 sanitation rating. I've worked in the restaurant industry before. I have worked in cafeterias when I was in my early 20s. I know about the preparation that's involved when inspection comes, and 100 is really, really challenging to get. And I just think it's fantastic that we have such amazing folks out there that we would love to appreciate, and the amount of energy that they provide to keep our children fed and nutrition standards met And so it was hard not to smile at as I was pulling pictures from social media, from team members that shared events that they partake in, all the advocacy. So yeah, and we just want to say thank you. We really, really appreciate the work that you do every day to keep our kids in North Carolina fed.
A quick note from Alicia, we're up to 64 action alerts now, which is awesome. We're hoping to hit 65 at in this hour block. And I think, it feels more possible than ever right now. I do want to, Janet's completely right. It'll really bring a smile to your face looking at a lot of these pictures. And now is the week to do it with National School Breakfast Week. If you go online, go on Twitter and just look for the NSBW23 hashtag, seeing what school nutrition employees do, to decorate their cafeterias, to make things fun for kids is really awesome. So I'll start our slideshow now and we'll have a little music. But I think what we'd really love to get the most out of this hour is to hear from some of you guys what your stories of appreciation are for school nutrition professionals or other people working to provide these meals. So don't hesitate to say something in the chat or to speak up and raise your hand, and we'll mute the music and hear from you. And this will be about 6 or 7 minutes long, the first time. And then we've also got a great video from Leah Carper, the NC Teacher of the Year, that we can share after that about her story of a school nutrition professional who really affected her when she was a student.
Well, thanks, y'all. That was super fun to watch. It was really, really hard not to smile to see all of those pictures. It's so endearing to see how invested those child nutrition specialists are at decorating and really outfitting their own costumes to get into the spirit at school. So we really appreciate all of you out there who make a difference every day in children's lives. And like Alicia mentioned in the chat, not realizing what a big role school nutrition staff play in noticing when things might be not going in a way that a child or a parent may want things to go. If something's off, or if they notice things happening among children at school, they see these children every day. They know them by name. It's really beautiful to see the relationships that develop among the child nutrition staff and children, but to also know to that student that that's a safe place for them, that they come there to receive nutritious meals and love from people who support them and want to see them do well. So thanks for sharing that, Alicia. Thanks for everybody for being here. This is our appreciation hour.
Thank you for putting that together, Jana. And I'm going to throw in the link to a link to a Twitter search where you can just scroll the National School Breakfast Week tag. If you didn't get enough from that presentation, like I said, there's a lot more out there, and a lot of school nutrition programs in schools, both in North Carolina and nationwide, that are sharing all the fun things they're doing this week to celebrate school breakfast. This year's theme is Dig In to School Breakfast. So there's a lot of construction vehicles and the like, from the waffle crane to the blueberry bulldozer, and you can go find your favorite on there. Mine's the waffle crane. We've got a video I'd love to share in a few minutes from our NC Teacher of the Year, Leah Carper. But first, I'd love to open it up to those who are here on the Zoom with us. If anyone's got something they'd like to share about the school nutrition employees they've encountered as a student or in their adult life, or I know we've got some school nutrition employees with us. If any of them want to comment on what calls them to this work.
I just got back on, Andrew. What exactly are you asking from school nutrition staff?
Just we're our 2 p.m. hour is all about saying thank you to you guys, Gretchen, and appreciating the fact that y'all are the ones who make these programs happen day in and day out. So I'll say thank you to you personally, Gretchen, for everything that you do while we've got the chance. But we love, if anyone wants to share a thank you, like I said, personally, or we'd love to hear from you guys. What called you to this work? What got you involved? What keeps you going?
Well, for me, I started off with an internship, and I had no idea what school nutrition was back in '93 here in Pitt County. And the director I was with taught me it, and I fell in love. I thought I was going to go into fine dining, and this is nothing like fine dining. And I'm a nutrition hospitality management major, and I just really do enjoy what this job has to do. I mean, I'm here to feed these kids, and I feel so proud to go out there and see them eating. If I ever get stressed here in the office, I have to go watch a school serving breakfast or lunch and see those kids come through, and it all comes back while I'm doing this. The students need us. And when I see a middle or a high schooler praising us and thanking us for a meal and giving people hugs and stuff, I know I did my job right.
Thank you, Gretchen. If you don't mind me asking too, I know the pandemic was such a weird time for everybody, and school nutrition directors were going so above and beyond. And I think there was a lot of appreciation for you guys during that time when you were really visible to a lot of people. I wonder what that's been like and what it's been like since then, maybe with the work continuing, but some of the attention changing.
Thanks for bringing that up. Actually, today, it is National School Breakfast Week this week. And one of my managers did share, she got a thank you card from a kindergarten class. So she was so appreciative of that. But it does seem that unless we have something big going on, school lunch, school breakfast, or our superhero day in May, that not a lot is always said. And we were getting big old kudos during, like you said, when we were under COVID and we were feeding 17,000+ meals here in Pitt County. So it's just amazing how it has declined. I do remind myself all the time, though, they are still the same as they were then, and that's going to be where they are in the future. They're needed. They're always needed, and then remember they're here for the kids. And it can be hard because our restrictions, we had more. What you were able to serve then to what you're able to serve now. The rules have changed. You tighten back up as you did, before COVID, and they just want to feed the kids like we do. That our staff in schools just want to feed the kids. And I really hate it for the schools that do have to do charges and might have to take away a meal. I've had that in some prior counties. I don't do it currently, but it's hard. And I don't want to lose staff members because we might have to enforce a rule. So it's gonna be hard for people that have to take away those breakfasts or lunches to kids to have charges if that's what a district says they have to do. Staff members, that's not what they're here for. They're here to fix the meals, serve the meals, and clean the kitchen and have ready for the next day. And that's just above and beyond. I just want to feed the students, and that's what they should only have to do. They should not have to worry about taking that meal that they prepared and put hard sweat towards away from a student. It really needs it.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people don't appreciate that the school nutrition job is not just about feeding kids, but there's so much regulation, so much government things to navigate and make sure you're getting correct. And I think part of this School Meals for All NC Coalition and idea is to remove a lot of that administrative burden. Let's make it easy. Let's feed every kid who needs it. And getting that administrative burden out of the way, I think, frees you guys up to focus more on the food and the kids and scratch cooking and things like that, and getting inventive and focusing on healthy food.
Yeah, because my 15 schools that are charging schools, or the managers, of course, the principals want them to help them out get those charges paid back. And again, that's another thing. We don't have any pull with the parents and stuff when we make those calls. Only a school administrators are really going to have that pull to get any funds back. And our people shouldn't have to be cussed at and put down. And why did you let my child have it? Well, if the child comes through the line, I'm going to give them a meal unless reason's there that's not supposed to. We're going to give them that meal. So, but it's interesting on what they have to go through. It really is. And then you have other schools that are RCP that don't have to go through that. So as I'm saying, it's just not an equal. It's not the same job in every school, and that makes it kind of unfair there too for the ones that are at non-CEP schools that they have to make charges and the others that aren't. It's really unfair in those regards.
Thank you for sharing with us, Gretchen.
Thank you.
I saw Beth on here a second ago. I don't know if she dropped off, but if there's anyone else who'd like to share what drew them to school nutrition, we'd love to hear.
Ruth McDowell's down there too. She's from Edgecombe.
Girl, well, what drew me to child nutrition? I grew up in a household of 12 people, okay? We always ate good, I would say, but it was not necessarily the things that we should have been eating. So back then, we didn't think we were hungry, but in essence, we really were, because we were not getting the nutrition that we needed. We were just glad to be happy and alive and enjoying life. So that's what we did. But one thing I do want to talk about is our National School Lunch Week this week. Yesterday we did breakfast for lunch. We dug into breakfast, but we did it at lunchtime. So it was a big hit with the kids because, we don't have time to do bacon, eggs, sausage, all the big stuff at lunchtime. At breakfast time. So we did it at lunch. It was a big hit, so much so that I'm going to do it again in May. Our participation came up and it was just fantastic for us. So.
Thank you, Ruth. It's amazing how much a little change can get kids excited.
Yeah.
Oh, that's super fantastic. My favorite, my children's favorite dinner is breakfast for dinner. So if they had breakfast for lunch, they would be over the moon. That's wonderful.
A few weeks ago, we had our annual NC Child Hunger Leaders Conference and had a lot of great speakers, including Ruth. And one of the people we heard from was the First Lady of North Carolina, Kristen Cooper. And she said the thing that I think has stuck with me the most, which is she was talking about how many people who were in the room had been working during the pandemic to make sure kids were fed. And she said that those kids are going to remember that when they grow up. They're going to remember the people who were there to take care of them and feed them during that scary emergency time. And it was extra powerful for me because an hour later on the same stage, we had the NC Teacher of the Year and principals and teachers from across North Carolina there talking about how school meals impacted them as kids and talking about the school nutrition employees who made an impact on them as kids. And I think that's one of the exciting things about this that people don't always appreciate. You know, it's not just about making sure kids have meals when they might not have the food they need, but it's about going beyond for the academic benefits, the social emotional wellness benefits, the creating North Carolina's future teachers and principals of the year. So we've got a little video I'd love to show you of Leah Carper, the Teacher of the Year, sharing that same story she shared about being a high schooler on reduced price lunch.
Had reduced lunch. I had reduced lunch when I was in high school. I had reduced lunch. I had reduced lunch my freshman, sophomore year. I had free lunch before then, but it was reduced in high school. And I remember being so embarrassed because one day I'm going through the line, and I paid my 40 cents. It's still 40 cents today. I paid my 40 cents, and a kid behind me said, "Hey, you didn't give her enough money. Hey, she owes you some money." And I was so embarrassed. It's humiliating to be poor, you know, when you're a teenager. And the sweet lunch lady, she said, "No, actually, Leah gave me too much money. Here's your change." And she gave me back the 40 cents. And I was so moved by that, the kindness that she had. She understood me as a person and understood that I was so upset about and embarrassed and humiliated. Could we take that off of kids? Can we make it just so it's not something that kids know, the kids who have free lunch, reduced lunch? It's a humiliating feeling. Finding a way to fund every school getting free breakfast, free lunch would be incredible. Find a way for that to not be an issue. It shouldn't be something that's like this district has to pay for and this district needs to figure out. Let's do it across the board. Let's do it on the big level, you know? Let's just take care of it so it's one less thing to worry about.
Thank you again to Leah for sharing that with us and for being at our conference. And I think it says a lot that so many people in this teacher and principal regional of the year role have a lot of requests for their time and demands put on them and attention. And so many of them choose to spend some of their time speaking about this school meals issue and engaging with our audience. So I think it goes to show how much educators recognize the importance of these school meals to what they do. So once again, for anyone joining us for the first time here on our School Meals for All NC Day of Action Zoom, we are encouraging everyone to participate in the action alert that's been put out for NCAH to contact your legislator and help educate on why school meals are important to you. We've got a terrific advocacy guide that can help you learn what to say to a legislator, find easy social media posts. There's a draft resolution that you can take back to your organization or school. If you're new to the Zoom, we'd love for you to check in on the chat. Tell us who you are, where you're calling from. And we'd love to hear from anyone who'd like to share their stories about school nutrition, child hunger, what motivated you to join the call today and become interested in this work, or school nutrition professionals who have made an impact on you over the years. Our 2 o'clock hour here is focused on saying thank you to the school nutrition employees who make these programs possible day in and day out. We do have some fun stuff lined up for the rest of the day too. I'll mention at 3 o'clock, we've got some story sharing. And at 5 o'clock, ABC2 will be here for our Youth Power Hour.
Andrew, just
So
to give you an update, we are at
Yeah.
70 action alerts. So
That's
do we think we
incredible.
can hit 80?
I think we can. That's
think we can.
remarkable.
That was a big jump.
Yeah, our goal, I think, for this hour was 65, and we're at 70 now. So that's
Mhm.
excellent. We appreciate everyone who's taken part of that action alert. And you see in there the chat, Alicia just put the action alert link, and Morgan just put the advocacy guide link. And I'll remind you too, this is our day of action for school meals for all NC, but it doesn't end today. We've been building this coalition for months. Many of you have taken a part of that, and this work will continue after today too. And the information in that advocacy guide will be really valuable going forward to when it comes to talking points or ways to contact people and connect with others. So I'll put on an invite again for anyone interested in sharing their experience with us.
I'd like to give a thank you, Andrew. So I've just really enjoyed over the years getting to work with all of the school nutrition professionals and the opportunity to go out and visit your sites and just see the great work that you're doing. I did see that Sarah Pitts just joined us, and just want to say a big thank you for actually allowing us to come out yesterday and visit one of the schools in Orange County. So Marianne from the North Carolina Alliance for Health and I went with a group of students from UNC to go and visit a school lunch. And so we took the students to go and be able to actually see what school meals are all about. And Sarah did an amazing job of just telling us more about how the program operates, all the logistics she has to deal with in terms of managing the meal program. We got to observe the meal. We got to go see the cafeteria where the meal is prepared, and then we got to eat lunch there as well. And so it was just a great experience. And I know I really got a lot out of it, as well as our students. And really, it was an excellent lunch that they put together for us, and just the efficiency as well. Just the number of kids they were able to get through that cafeteria, getting everyone in and out and getting their lunches. Just an amazing job. So just wanted to say thank you for letting us come out and see your site, because you're doing some amazing work.
Thank you, Jessica. We a little earlier too, Gregory, who's still on the call, was talking about the importance of making sure families know how to cook and prepare nutritious food on their own as well, and have healthier options besides fast food or something like that. So an extra thank you and shout out to Sarah in Orange County for participating in the Cooking Matters programs that we're involved in, that are teaching kids how to prepare and figure out healthy food on their own. We're doing that in Orange County, but I know other organizations are doing it across the state in their own ways. Here at the halfway mark of our thank you hour for school nutrition professionals, we've got 70 action alerts down, and we're going for 80. And I would love to play our excellent PowerPoint slideshow again in just a minute. I see Sarah's video on. I don't know if you wanted to say anything, Sarah. Just saying hello.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you again for Jessica for bringing everyone out, just because it's, great for our staff to be able to see others who are there, and, it brings pride into their job when they see others appreciate what they're doing, and they were really excited about the potential of what this group is here for. We all understand the importance of kids being able to eat, especially if they don't have access, or their families are on that borderline of, they make too much, but they still struggle with being able to provide food every day. So it was nice for my staff to be able to ask questions, and it was just a lot of fun for them. And I would say, anytime that you want to host more Cooking Matters courses, Orange County Schools would love to have you at some of our other after-school programs too.
Thank you, Sarah. And on the topic of having, older students in schools and seeing meal programs, and Gretchen mentioned, I think that you started as an intern. And we also had some summer interns this summer from UNC who participated in the summer nutrition programs in a few districts across the state. And what we heard from them is that the reality of these meal programs is so different from what they had in mind when they signed up. Not in a negative way, in a revealing way. And so I think it's really important to offer these opportunities for public health students and future nutritionists and young people to engage with school nutrition programs and see what they're really like and see the impact they're making and train the future of this profession. It's special too. Yeah.
I agree, Andrew. Going from a supervisor position, I was in 3 supervisor roles before I took a director. This is my 2nd director position, and you definitely grow a lot by challenging yourself in those different positions. Being a supervisor, you can be in those schools more often, and it's great being right beside them. That's the thing. I know me and Ruthie and stuff. To this day, we'll go out to the schools if we have to, and we do quite often. Put on that hairnet and stuff, but to go out there. And Ruthie and I were talking about this the other day, I hope you don't mind me, Ruthie, but she has to use a stool when she cashiers because she's not used to standing all day like our staff. I mean, it's a physical job. And people don't understand how hard it is. We have our ladies and a few gentlemen are out there doing this work, and it's very, very physical, doing 50-pound cases of food, lugging that stuff around, hauling trash. Cleaning all that equipment that's taller than most of them is quite interesting. But again, they do it because they love their job and they love the families and they just want to be there. I mean, they really hate to miss a day, a lot of them, and that's great.
Gretchen, we've mentioned earlier how, so some of these emergency waivers like free meals for all kids ended this school year, but some of the emergency conditions that we experienced during the pandemic in school nutrition are still going on, whether that's inflation or the supply chain or the staffing issue that you're talking about. I can't think of many school nutrition directors we've talked to in the past year who haven't been out there working in schools at least part of the time during the week to make up for some of those shortages and challenges that they're experiencing. Yeah.
And our interns are thrown right in there as soon as we get them. They really are. To keep substitutes, though, it's hard to keep people to stay. I have had many people that come in and work 1 to 2 days and leave us. And all that time that between our department going through the interview process and HR processing them, and they don't stay. I don't think they do realize, again, how physical the job is and mental because of the paperwork. So you have 2 sides to it. It's not like a restaurant. It's a little bit different in a restaurant. You're not doing the same job standing in one area. You're all over the place. And so it can be challenging, and some people just aren't up for the job. And that's going to be the hard part as people are retiring. We hope we're going to have enough people to follow through that's as passionate and can handle all the new changes from USDA and then your local health departments and stuff. I mean, rules are constant, and not every district has the same implementation processes from the health department or from any other local jurisdiction, fire codes and everything else. So it's different everywhere you go. You have to learn the processes, but you still got the main goal of following the USDA rules and the regs to provide that meal to that students. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm not sure, Andrew, if you were here. I mean, we're really concerned with those USDA regulations that's going to be changed. The meal pattern, again, as I said a few hours ago, is not going to be good for our students. They're not going to like the meals. We got it now to where we're meeting the rules for it, our regulations, and to go even stricter, it's just not palatable. Parents aren't cooking that way at home, and I just think it's very frustrating. They're leaving it on school nutrition to teach somebody how to eat a meal, but I want them to eat a meal, not go home hungry, instead of throwing stuff away because we're meeting the guidelines. Right now, we're meeting guidelines for sodium, sugar, and fats, and whole grains, and the new stuff is just not going to be worth it. It's just really, really sad what the program's coming to. So I do hope you'll check out the USDA websites and check out the new meal program, the meal pattern they're talking about us doing.
And with those guidelines currently, we know that school meals are the healthiest place that Americans are eating, according to studies that have been done over like a 15-year period.
Yeah, WIC and school nutrition are the only 2 places that's got regulations. I mean, you have SNAP benefits stuff, and you can buy anything. You can buy cupcakes, but That's what I'm saying. Until some other regulations change and help the parent and the people at home know how to cook the food and what to bring in to the home, it's going to be hard for the kids if we have to follow these guidelines that are going to be implemented in the next few years, because they're not going to eat with us and they're just going to go to the chips stuff they get off this benefits.
I think we were talking earlier, I think a lot of parents with kids who don't participate in school meals don't appreciate how healthy these school meals are. Tamara in the chat is reminding us that schools are the largest restaurants in the state, feeding hundreds of kids every day, multiple meals, which is just incredible. Also got a shout out from Margot with the Center for Black Health and Equity and a former WAKE teacher. Thank you for saying hello, Margot. If there's anyone else who's new on our Zoom and you haven't introduced yourself yet, please do throw your name and your organization and where you're from in the chat here. And we're focusing this hour on saying thank you to school nutrition employees and professionals who do this job day in and day out, making sure our students are fed and have the energy and fuel they need to learn and thrive. We are going to take another look at the beautiful slideshow that Jana put together with some pictures of school nutrition employees celebrating them and the students they serve. And again, if anyone's got an appreciation they want to share, or just the reason they're involved in the School Meals for All and Seek campaign, don't hesitate to comment in the chat or speak up, and we'll mute the volume for you. Thank you again to Jana for putting that together for us. While we were watching, it reminded me of something we did a few years ago during our first virtual Child Hunger Leaders Conference. We knew we weren't going to be in person because of the pandemic that year, but we invited school nutrition teams across the state to film a little 15-second video and send it to us as a hello on behalf of their district and their team. And it was just so much fun to see all these different school nutrition teams from across the state saying hello, and it felt kind of like we were together a little bit despite the pandemic. And so I think I've got the link, and I'm going to try and drop it in the chat here so y'all can watch it on your own time. I did see in the chat here too, Margo shared an appreciation. Let's see if I can scroll and find it. Margo from the Center for Black Health and Equity writes, during one of my summer food science camps, free lunch was a factor in getting parents to enroll their kids in the educational programs. While teaching a lesson on gardening, kids were surprised to learn that French fries came from a potato that grew in dirt. That was not a fun discovery, but after taking them to a local garden to harvest vegetables, their appreciation increased, along with respect for their school cafeteria services. Thumbs up to all of you who put kids' nutrition first. I agree. Big thumbs up to everyone who puts kids' nutrition first. Teaching gardens and opportunities for kids to experience the process on their own, I think, are so cool and such an emerging practice here in North Carolina. I know we were working with a Keenan Fellow in Durham who was working on a school garden of her own. And I think later today, we're going to hear from Halifax County Schools, which has a very serious farm to school project in the form of Greenleaf Farms. I think someone could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that'll be coming up next at 3 o'clock during the story sharing segment. Let me find that link for you to this video. Again, I'm putting in the chat this video that school nutrition teams helped us put together during the first year of the pandemic. Just saying hello from their team and taking a moment to say hello to everyone else during a time when we couldn't be together because of the pandemic. If you've just joined us here on the Zoom, we're taking an hour to say thank you to school nutrition professionals who are responsible for making these programs happen day in and day out. We've heard some great appreciations from people here on the call, but we'd love it too if we could kind of end the hour by encouraging you to go say thank you off the call too. Send a social media post to the team in your district. Send an email to someone that you work with or someone who might serve your kids food at school every day. I think Jana put in a link earlier to a template letter that you can use. And there are some social media posts in our advocacy guide as well, which would make a great thing to use. I'll open up the floor again one more time for anyone who's got an appreciation like to share for the school nutrition professionals who have made an impact on their lives or their kids' lives, or just any reason that you're getting involved in this work and thinking it's important.
Hey, Andrew, it's Marianne. I saw Sarah online. I just wanted to say a quick word of appreciation to her. She hosted Jessica, myself, and a group of our students yesterday at New Hope Elementary School out in Orange County. And not only do we have the most delicious school lunch, but we had a great experience and we all learned so much about meal service. And I just wanted to give a big thanks to her for hosting us.
Thank you, Marianne. Hello to Gloria from Onslow County. Thank you for checking in, Gloria.
Hello, glad to be part of the Zoom. I was on earlier this morning and it is such a wonderful program. I did send letters to the legislators and making some calls, and I'm glad I could be part of this today. It's a wonderful program, and thanks for all you do.
Thank you, Gloria. We're glad to have you as part of it. We heard from Alicia a little earlier that we've had 70 action alerts fulfilled so far, and we're working on 80 as our next goal before the end of the day. So thank you for getting those calls and those emails out.
Thank you.
I see someone on video, but I can't hear them if they're trying to connect with us. Oh.
Hey, Andrew, I just want to add my thanks. The School Nutrition Association as a whole especially has been so wonderful. We've worked really closely with them over the past few years to get funding for school nutrition during the pandemic and before, and farm to school, and change the indirect cost, make their indirect cost changes and get the lunch copay covered. And they have been very patient with us and walked us through how to talk about this issue and explained, the community eligibility provision to me multiple times. And so I just want to shout out because I think it's really important to also note that they're not only serving breakfast and lunch and snacks and making sure that our kids are fed every day, and loving on them and making them feel that love, but they're also helping to advocate for changes that are going to help support their programs and allow them to better serve those students and make sure that every student is fed and no student has debt. So I just didn't want to forget kind of that other side, that I think it's not part of their job description, and yet they're still doing it and having meetings with us after hours and using their personal time to help us to make changes that are going to improve these programs and better support school nutrition staff and again feed our kids. So I wanted to share that and say thank you.
100%. Thank you, Morgan. Yeah, this coalition is definitely adding to an existing voice, calling for these school meals and improvements to these programs and creating access for every kid. And we know that we can't do this without their voice and their perspective. So we're very grateful for that as well. I don't know if I'd make it as a school nutrition director with all the government CEP multipliers and regulations. I'm not sure I could handle it mentally.
Andrew, I know that I couldn't. I'm struggling with just making dinner tonight. So they do a tremendous job.
Absolutely.
Truly tremendous. One of the students that was with us yesterday is a Moorhead Kane Scholar, heading off to medical school, I believe, in the fall, or dental school, can't remember which one, and left saying, I don't know that I could manage that level of work.
Yeah, Marianne, we were speaking a little earlier about how many, young people, students in the public health profession or the nutrition track don't appreciate everything that goes on in the school meals world. We were talking about your students and some interns we had participating this past summer who've really had their eyes open to everything that goes on in the school meals world, not just with the amount of work or the type of work it takes. But I think the impact that it has on these kids, the importance to so many families, the wide reaching aspects of it, it's not just lunch, it's breakfast, it's summer meals, it's after school meals, has been a revelation to a lot of them. And I think contributes to creating a new generation of school nutrition employees. Got about 5 minutes left, so I'm going to give another plug for our action alerts. We were at 70 when we last checked, and we're working on getting toward 80 before the end of the day. I think it's been a huge success so far today for our day of action for school meals for all NC. And as we've said before, you know, this is just one day and many days that we're going to be working toward this goal. So the advocacy guide that has so much information in there about how to contact legislators, talking points, social media points, will serve you well in the days to come, I think.
Morgan just plugged, we're at 72 action alerts.
72.